Oh, welcome to the Sharpe Way Show. So happy to have you with me here this evening, a little bit past 7 p.m. on the East Coast, and I'm here again. I don't know why I keep doing this, but for some reason, I keep doing this. I was thinking about something very specific this today and yesterday, trying to put a bunch of things together from one thing. From one thing, I try to put a bunch of things together. And that one thing was the idea that Harris wants to debate and Trump kind of doesn't. Okay, now I know what Trump is saying. Trump is saying that the reason why he doesn't want to debate is because he clearly won. So why would a champion want to have a rematch when he's already won? Okay, I mean, maybe he thinks that. I don't think he thinks that, but maybe he does. Possible. But then why would Harris want to debate? Right? If it's me, right? If it's me and I'm advising Harris, I would say, take the win, go home. We're done. In fact, Bill O'Reilly was on Piers Morgan's show. He said the same thing. He's like, I've been through tons of times. I've seen it before. He goes, take the win, go home. Why would you want to debate again? Makes no sense. He was talking about, if I remember right, Bill O'Reilly was talking about Ronald Reagan and how Ronald Reagan in his first debate got his butt kicked and then came back in his second debate and just wiped the floor, right? Was it not Mondale? Was it Mondale? Maybe it was Mondale. I forgot who it was. Anyway, the first one, he gets his butt kicked and he comes back and just devastates him, right? And he's like, well, that's what Trump could do. Why would you want to do that? So in my head, I'm starting to think a couple things. And then I figured out 3 or 4 things that came together. And then I started thinking about something else. I'm going to get together here in a second. Have any of you ever seen the movie Cross of Iron? It's an older movie from the 70s. James Coburn's in it. What makes it special is it's an American movie, American World War II movie, and it's not about Americans. Yes, it's about the Germans and the Russians fighting on the Russian front. I know, weird, right? It's literally a 70s movie with James Coburn playing an older German sergeant on the Russian front at the end of the war. It's the end of the war, so the Germans are clearly losing. They're getting their butt kicked, they're losing, and it's just basically a retreat movie is what it basically is. The Germans are getting their butt kicked at the end of the war. Why were the Germans fighting? The war was over. They knew the war was over, right? Why were they fighting? Have you ever seen the more recent American movie with Brad Pitt, Fury? It's about a tank named Fury and a tank crew, again, fighting in World War II against the Germans. This is even later. Cross of Iron movie was in 1944. This movie was supposed to be 1945. And at one point, Brad Pitt is talking to one of the captains because the Germans keep fighting. They're in Germany. The war is over, and they still keep fighting. And one of the American captains goes to Brad Pitt's character, who's a sergeant, and says, why don't they just surrender? And Brad Pitt looks at them and says, would you? And they keep fighting. All right. Why do I say this? Because sometimes the winner or the person who's winning just doesn't want to stop fighting. They want to crush the enemy. They want to crush them to make sure they can never come back. They want to devastate them so they can never come back. And I thought, wait a minute. Is this actually what Harris is thinking? Is Harris actually thinking, I want 2, 3, 4 debates because I want to crush him into the ground? Is that what he's thinking? And I thought, are they thinking that much? Then a couple things came together to me. Number one, if you remember, just recently, about a week ago, the judge decided that the judge was not going to pass sentencing on Trump. Do you remember that? Until after the election. Well, it's been about a month since he's been convicted, right? So why'd you decide now? It was all of a sudden. Now. Why? Here's an actual BBC piece about this. It's only a minute long. And you'll see what I'm talking about. It's just, again, I'm saying, what's going on here? And this is making me think. Maybe I'm being kind of conspiracy theory here. Maybe I am. I don't know. You have to tell me.
Going to New York now because a judge has just announced that he's postponed the sentencing of the former US President Donald Trump on paying hush money to an adult film star. John Sudworth is in New York with the latest for us now. John.
Well, Sophie, Donald Trump has been trying numerous methods to delay or completely annul his criminal prosecution and his sentencing for it back in May earlier this year. His attempts to get the case thrown out because of the recent Supreme Court ruling that granted broad immunity to presidents was so far unsuccessful. Of course, these payments to Stormy Daniels, the former porn star, took place before he was elected in 2016. But the decision today in the Manhattan court is a significant one. The judge has granted his motion to delay sentencing for those hush money payments until after the election, as you say. He said that this is to avoid the appearance, however unwarranted, that it might have a bearing on the election. But of course, Sophie, it raises other questions. It means that the US public, that voters will go into this election not knowing whether or not Donald Trump will be given a fine for these crimes or potentially, although...
Yes. Now why does this matter, right? Because I feel like this adds to, they want to make sure there's no excuses when they crush him. Am I going too far on this one? Right? I mean, I feel like that, but there's more, right? It's not just the one thing. There are other things too, right? It's also that right afterwards, right after the debate, Harris is like, I want more. I want more. I want more. Why would you? Right? It doesn't make any sense. Right? Dave says it. David says, Harris is ahead. Why would she debate Trump? She might lose her second debate. That happened literally years ago. That actually happened years ago. Yes. And Kim goes on to say, I think the next debate, Trump will drive it home. Maybe, right? So why would you do it? Exactly. You're thinking the same way I'm thinking, right? But then I got to add another piece. Not just Bill O'Reilly, not just that judge, but Harris also said, we can finally turn the page. We can close this book, meaning we can devastate him. We can end this. Now, add one more piece to this. Think of all the establishment Republicans who've jumped on board. All the establishment Republicans who've, 200 or whatever it is. Now, if you know how this works, the average Republican likes Trump tremendously. The average Republican likes Trump a lot. But the establishment Republicans, like the Cheneys of the world and such, the Paul Ryans of the world, they hate Trump. They have always hated Trump, and they still hate Trump. That has not changed. Establishment Republicans have always hated Trump, still hate Trump. I think they may see Harris as the person who can put Trump under. So they're on board. Hey, put him under. Yes, we're on board. Finish this thing. Let's go back to when it was Clinton versus Bush every other year, right? They want to go back to those days, right? They don't want this Trump stuff going on. They don't want it. Now I'm going to add more on top. See, I'm adding a bunch because this all started to make sense to me. Add on top of that, here comes Taylor Swift. And we talked about this yesterday. Is it really going to mean much? Maybe, maybe not. But it does all of a sudden motivate a bunch of people to register. And there's like millions of people registering now. She's bringing on tons of people to register. She said, do it. They all started registering. They know who's going to vote for. Young people vote Democrat far more than they vote Republican. So it's going to be some kind of edge, whatever that edge is. But even that's happening now. And then the last thing, and this is Frank Luntz, also on Piers Morgan. Frank Luntz said something which to me was shocking, because Frank is without a doubt the best pollster in the country. He is the best pollster in the country.
Kamala won, and does that mean she may now win the election?
I think more accurately, it's that Donald Trump lost. And this is not the worst debate performance I've seen in my career, but it's very close to it. The conversations about people eating dogs and cats, calling the leader of Hungary one of the greatest world leaders, repeatedly missing the opportunity to focus on inflation and affordability, and the complete inability to present his point of view without completely tearing into Joe Biden, into whomever was in his sights. It was a pretty negative performance, pretty pessimistic, cynical, contemptuous. And I think that this will cost him. Yes, I'm trying to decide if I want to go on record, and the answer is yes. I think that he loses because of this debate performance.
Wow. Do you think Kamala won?
Insane. That is insane that Frank Luntz actually said that. Now, when Frank Luntz says that, you might go, well, Larry, why do I care? Frank Luntz says that. You might not care. Either way, you may not care who Frank Luntz is. You may say, I don't care. This guy, by the way, is a Republican. He's a Republican pollster. So you might not care what he thinks. But I can tell you, a whole lot of people who are in D.C. care what he says. He is very often right. Not always, but he is very often right. He's one of the best polls. I'm going to say it. He's the best pollster in the country. I've met him only once or twice. I've read his books. Every book he writes, you should read if you care about this. He's brilliant in this regard. Now, that happening. And then I guess the last piece I'll bring up, the piece that I think Harris did the best, and she was going to do the best. This was and still is Trump's weakest point that he has, and that is the abortion issue. After the debate, the search for abortion rights just shot up. People are saying, what is his stance on this? What is her stance on this? Now, you might go, well, Larry, they're going to come up with that he's not this or he's not that. They might. You might be correct in that. However, that means this is going to have some movement. And I warned a lot of people who are heavy pro-life people. I said, you don't want Roe v. Wade actually overturned, not until the culture has changed to be more, moves more towards pro-life. No, anytime. Well, what did I tell them? I said, if that happens, people are going to turn it. Democrats will turn pro-life into anti-woman. Now, to be clear, I'm aware that's not true. Doesn't matter what I think. It matters what the American people think. And they are moving pro-life into anti-woman. And it's working. It is working. And if you're pro-life, you're probably very unhappy to hear that news, but it is clearly working. That's why so many women are going there. And everything you hear is, we're losing all our rights as women. We're losing all our rights as women. And you might go, wait a minute, Larry, I'm a woman. I live in New York State. I haven't lost any rights. Yes, but that emotion does land. And I think that's what they're working on. So I think that they are actually, this is what I believe now from all these things I talked about. I think the Democrats actually believe that they want more than one debate and that they can actually finish Trump off to the point where he cannot win and he gets crushed and they think they can get a landslide. Now, you might say to yourself, Larry, that's insane. That can never happen. You might be right. I'm not saying what is true or not true. I'm saying what Democrats think and what their strategy is. And they may be right. They may be wrong. So please understand that. I'm not necessarily saying, oh, it's going to happen. It's over. I actually don't believe that's true. I don't think that it's over by any means. But it doesn't mean Democrats don't think that, right? If the Democratic leadership believes that, they will try to crush him. Something else. The reverse could be happening. Trump walked into that not prepared. It's clear. People will say he was not prepared. He walked in not prepared, stumbled in there, and got roughed up badly. Now, Harris, this was her first debate. Trump's seventh. Harris might be thinking, maybe I am awesome. Look at me. I can beat up Trump every day of the week. She might start thinking that, right? By the way, when people get that, I call that the fever. Candidates do get this. This is a thing at every level. Candidates start getting it. I call it the fever, but people who work with candidates know this. A candidate starts having some good success and they start believing their own hype. They start tasting their own hype. They start tasting victory. Happens to a lot of people, right? Luckily, I've had my ass kicked enough times. I'm now immune to the fever. But there are a lot of people who haven't had this happen before. And they get the fever and they think, I am awesome. Everyone's telling me I'm awesome. I could wipe the floor with Trump now. Bring him on. I'll have 75. That might happen. If that happens, she might go into the next one thinking, I don't need his help. I'll just whip his butt. And then he prepares or his team is better. And then she gets, mopped up herself. Either of those could happen. But I'm starting to think that the Democrats want to, I'm sorry, I'm saying Democrats. I'm sorry. That's not true. The establishment, that's better because this establishment Republicans are on board. You see, I mean, Dick Cheney's on board. So clearly this is establishment Republicans and Democrats together trying, I think, to bury Trump and put him under so that he never can come back, so that MAGA is crushed, so that MAGA is completely discredited. I think that's actually the goal now. I'm not saying they can do it. Some of you who are MAGA will be mad at me. I'm not saying they can do it. I'm saying I feel like they're actually going to try it. They're going to take this as an attempt to push head forward, try to destroy it, try to destroy MAGA. I think that's why he's joking. Maybe Biden puts the MAGA hat on. See that picture is online? I think he's playing games. Says, see, look, I got the MAGA hat on. We're going to crush it. And I think they believe it. The question is, do you believe it? Do you think that I guess, well, she's heading it, right? She's the face of it. Do you think they actually could destroy it? And would they destroy it because they could coordinate well enough to put money behind it? Or is it kind of what Lunn said, which is it's not that Harris won, it's that Trump lost, right? And will Trump lose again? And I believe Frank more. Harris, as I mentioned before, I'm on record saying this, she's not a great debater. She's great at preparing. Similar in a way, if you listen to Obama. Obama when he's on a screen, when he's on teleprompter, he's an amazing speaker. And if you guys don't like Obama, it doesn't matter. It's true. If he's on a teleprompter, he is amazing. He moves a crowd. He's very good. Off the cuff, he goes to, okay. He does fall to that. Clinton was amazing off the cuff and still is. Clinton could just go off the cuff. He was just amazing. Obama's great on a teleprompter. Harris is only good when she's completely prepped. And she was completely prepped. Will she screw up? Will he screw up? Let me grab a couple comments. You guys think I'm crazy? I mean, I think it makes sense to me, right? That to me makes sense. I wanted to bring this up because it seems to make sense to me. I think that's what they're going to try to achieve. I'm not sure if they will. Guys, if you like what I'm saying, do me a favor. Click that button that is like. I don't see a lot of likes being clicked. Why are you mad at me? You think you're mad? You think I'm wrong? It's fine. Tell me I'm wrong. We'll have a conversation. Just click the like anyway. Like to tell me I'm wrong. Click the like. I don't care. Not just that. If you are on either Twitter or Facebook, please reshare this right now. Retweet, reshare, repost, whatever. Share it if you can. If you're on either YouTube or Facebook, click that like or follow button, that follow, subscribe button. It's important. If you want your chat to go to the front, super chat me, you can if you're on Larry Sharpe. And of course, please, every single member does matter. If you want to become a member on YouTube, click that join button, $5 per month. And I'm doing more and more of this and having these kind of conversations, which I got to tell you, I don't think anyone else is having this conversation. I looked around. They're not having this. They're not thinking the way I'm thinking. They're not thinking what we're talking about now. It's nowhere. It's just Trump won, or Trump made a mistake, but he'll kill her next time, or Harris is awesome and she won and she's killing it. That's the conversations. They're not what's going on. Why is this happening? Who's thinking what? Why the hell would you look for another one? And also, by the way, what you see them doing already, Democrats right now, they are acting like, oh, Trump is chicken. He's scared because Harris is going to beat him. That's the storyline they're taking, trying to draw him out. It might work. I don't know. It might work. Manufactured consensus says Trump looks older, lower energy, more negative, not the same Trump as 2016. I think that's accurate. It's 8 years and he's older, right? It's 8 years and he's older. So yeah, what's he, 78 now? Is that right? I think he's 78. So yeah, I mean, he was 70 back then. It's a difference. And as you know, as you get older, everything goes faster downhill. So yeah, so I think it's true, but it doesn't mean that people don't still love him. I think there are a lot of people who still love him. I don't think that's changed. You look at someone like Ron Paul. Ron Paul's in his 80s and libertarians adore him. He can, whatever. He shows up, we're following him. We love him. So I do think you're right, though. He was different. The question is, I've also seen him relatively recently have more energy, be more positive. The issue I saw, and I said this then, and Lunn said it was negative. I don't think I heard Make America Again, Great Again. If I did, I don't remember it. He should have been saying Make America Great Again 25 times. He didn't say it. He was more negative. It's true. But also, look, to be forward, they've been whipping his ass in every way possible. They've been cheating on him, beating him up, doing all the things, put him in court. Again, not an excuse, an answer. So yes. Shelley says, personally, I think Harris won the debate, but she didn't win any votes, but Trump did. ABC's moderator. That's good. That is good. Yes. All righty. Let me grab a couple more of these. All right. Kim says, even the best champagne will go flat. It's true. Absolutely. It's true. William says, glutton for punishment. You know, the reality of it is, if I was working for Harris now, and she's like, we're doing it again, I'd be like, why? Go in the basement, sit around for 7 weeks and just walk your way to victory. A win is a win. Who cares? Hopefully he'll get mad and say something dumb. You say nothing. We'll make us some excuse why you're sick. We'll only put you on we'll put you back on ABC again to do some, some glad handing. We'll do a couple baby kisses, freaking debates. I mean, not debates, interviews. You'll be fine. We'll do some easy and move on. But she's like, no, Larry, we're doing it again. If she were that way, I think you got to go hard. I think you have to, with a guy like Trump, you got to leave him alone or you got to bury him, right? That's it. You can't, there's no leave him alone or bury him. So if she's like, I want to do it, I'd be teasing him. I'd be pushing his buttons. I'd be having videos about him being scared, talking about the cats and the dogs and stuff. That's all I would do. I would draw him out. If you want to draw him out, otherwise he might walk away. So it's a challenge though, for sure. Mike, I heard this. Was Kamala wearing Bluetooth earring? I think he means hearing devices. I saw that. Maybe I'm wrong. I can't imagine it. Last night you guys were asking that question too. And I saw it. I saw it online. It was like a picture of the device that looks like a pearl earring. And it's actually a device. Maybe. I just feel like if they're caught, and you found it, we're talking about it now. If that were true, I mean, that literally could end her campaign. I just can't imagine it. Look, if we find that next week it's true that she was cheating, I would be surprised. I don't see it. I would be very surprised. So yes. So Kim says Trump needed to drive a few things harder than he did, 100%. She goes on to say Trump should debate her again. Kim, if she's open to it and I'm Trump, I do it. 100% I do it. You got to go. You got to prep yourself and go. And next thing is what you do is you learn. You see what she did. You see how she acted and you know what's going to happen and you prep. You do your jujitsu and you tear him up. Absolutely. I think it's a great idea for Trump to debate her again. If I was her, no way I would do it. Unless, again, look, the issue is, are donors telling her, here's the money, crush him? Are the establishment Republicans, because again, establishment Republicans are totally behind getting rid of Trump. They want him gone. Are they writing her checks saying, crush him, get back out there, do it again, bury this guy. We don't want him coming back. We don't want him coming back, right? And to be forward, if I can't see this in my head now at all, I can't see it being a thing, but let's go into the fantasy world that some of them may believe for a moment. Imagine if she slaughters him in the Electoral College, right? She gets like, I don't know, 350, whatever the number is, right? She gets a ton. She gets 400. She beats him 400 to 170, whatever. I can't imagine that. But again, let's go into fantasy world for a second. That happens. If that were to happen, Trump is finished. I mean, like he is discredited, finished, gone. That's true. So I get why they would want that to happen. I have a hard time, unless they know something, there's some special October surprise we don't know about, right? Unless there's something like that, I can't imagine that happening. Unless, again, they do debates and unless they're prepared, unless they want Trump gone so badly, so much, that they would be prepared to roll the dice on that. Throw the money at it, get her out there, and just hope that, in the next two debates, she can crush him so badly that it looks so terrible that he gets blown out, and Harris gets 400 electoral votes. I don't know. That seems a little crazy to me, but maybe. And if they have money, look, if I'm her and I'm working for her and I got donors going, here's another 10 million, just do this, I'll be like, okay, we're doing it. Right? I mean, you got to follow your donors too, right? You follow both. So yes. The anti-corporatist says Reagan refused to hold his opponent's youth and experience against him. Yes, should have done that, but he didn't have the brain juice left. I'm not sure that's the case. Just prepping, right? Just if you have a team, to be forward with you, anti-corporatist, that isn't his job. That's his team's job to do homework. But if I'm prepping a candidate, the candidate doesn't do the homework. I do the homework, right? I prep. I look back. I rewatch debates. I do that stuff. See that you saw how I took this debate apart, right? I'll do it again. Take the debate apart, then go to my candidate and go, okay, this. Here's what you got to do. Here's how it works. That's the team's job to figure that one out, right? So hopefully the candidate can deliver it effectively and maybe can help out. But his team should have told him exactly this. This should have been pre-planned. That should have been. So yes. All righty. Let's see here. Sarah says, I'll add that movie to my watch list. My favorite World War II movie is Life is Beautiful. Oh, there we go. Okay, yeah. No, the two what makes there are two parts, both of those movies that are interesting. What makes Fury interesting is recently, in the last maybe 20 years, I'm not sure why, maybe it's American culture, maybe it's been enough time, you're seeing the Germans in World War II being seen much more human. Where in the past, they were all just the evil German guy who gets shot. Now, they still get shot because they lost the war, but now they're more human, right? There's a reason why they're doing it. They believe it, that kind of thing, right? And there's also something else we're seeing now we didn't see before, which actually happened during the war. If you ask veterans of World War II, they will tell you this. The soldiers who fought in Europe saw a difference between the SS and the Wehrmacht. The Wehrmacht is the German army, like the people who are drafted. The SS are the elite, HJ or H-Jungen, HJ people who grew up to become, I'll say, loyal party members. That's what I'll say. So yes, and they saw difference. And one of the reasons people may not know this, the only time Americans were executed by Germans, as in prisoners of war, was the SS during the Battle of the Bulge. In December of 1944, and again, Fury takes place in 45 years afterwards, during the Battle of the Bulge, there were some SS units that came in that were part of that attack, right? Going out from Germany out into Belgium, trying to capture Antwerp was the goal, trying to capture Antwerp. And as they came out and made that massive Battle of the Bulge, the Germans literally didn't have the resources to take all the prisoners. So they could have just lined them up, got them out, done something. The SS said, we'll just machine gun them. And they did. The SS just executed the Americans who surrendered. They executed them. From the Battle of the Bulge to the rest of the war, Americans took no SS prisoner, unless they had to. They literally, and they showed us in Fury, the officers had to literally order their men to not shoot the SS because they wanted prisoners so they could interrogate them and know troop displacements and where troops were. Because you don't have satellite. Most of your intelligence comes from the individual. So you interrogate them. And the SS officers knew a lot. They were SS officers. So, but the Americans kept killing them. So the officers, they stop killing all the SS. We need to know where they are. And the soldiers kept killing them. They weren't killing the Wehrmacht. They were killing the SS. And I think that was an interesting piece that was in the movie Fury, and a couple other movies had the similar piece. But they make, if you want to see an interesting, it's a series. You can probably get it on Netflix, maybe Amazon Prime. It's a German series. The advantage of watching German World War II movies is they always end horribly. The Germans learned a lesson. This doesn't work out well. Everyone loses. We did twice. It sucks. Don't do it anymore. They're like done. So their movies are not at all like glory. Their movies are like war sucks. Everyone just dies. Don't do it. Two of the interesting ones. There's an older one from 1991 or 2 called Stalingrad. That's a German-made movie. That one is about obviously the Germans in Stalingrad and how horrible it was, and how it turned people into monsters, and how terrible it was to be on that front. The same genre, not same genre, same age, was a 1980, is it 82, 83? In that area, the movie Das Boot, which means the boat, the U-boat. It's about the Jürgen Prinschau was in that, American actor also and German actor, and it's a submarine, German submarines. And again, none of it ends well. It all ends terribly. A more recent one. Well, I'm sorry, I'm going. This is your fault, Sarah, for getting me going World War II movies. All right, I'm working on another one. This is also German made. It's called in English. It's called Generation War in English. In America, it's called Unsere Vater, unsere Mutter, which in German means our fathers, our mothers. And it talks about, it's a story about 5 people who came into the war and then how the war affected them through and at the end. And 2 main characters are brothers. And I won't give the whole thing away, but I'll give you a piece of it. The 2 brothers, the war changes them completely. The older brother is very pro-German, very nationalist. He's an officer, cares about Germany and the Reich, cares about the kind of thing. And the young brother's like, this is all stupid. Why am I doing this? I'm going in because my dad made me. This is all dumb. And they both go into the Wehrmacht and fight on the Russian front. By the end of the war, they have reversed. The guy who was all pro-German hates all of this, can't stand the party, can't stand the war. He changed completely. And the guy who was like, this is all dumb, becomes a monster, becomes an utter monster. Like you would never see it coming. So it's very well done. There's 2 women. There's a guy who's Jewish, how he has to escape and become part of the partisans and escape into Poland. It's a very interesting series. It's like maybe 3 or 4 shows, probably found on Netflix. It's called Generation War in English. So yeah. Anyway, now you have many movies to watch. Absolutely. Mike goes on to say, I think another debate will help her polling. I think she feels she's behind. Mike, this is a very valid point. She's going to get a bit of a bump. That's true. But it's not massive, right? At least I don't think it'll be massive. I don't think we know yet. But from what we see now, it's not a massive bump. It's a blip. Now, her goal has to be to maintain it. So I do agree. If she does, I'm not sure she's going to beat Trump in another debate. I mean, maybe. If she does, this will be accurate. If she actually does go there and beat Trump, this will actually work. I'm not sure it will. Sarah goes on to say, and said, thank you for being a member, by the way. She thinks she will crush him, obviously. Yes, her size. You're right. She does believe that. I think she's starting to get the fever. She's like, I am the greatest. Look at me. I won that. I will trash everything. I think that's true. So, yes. All righty. Where if I can keep going down here. Mike Ross is here. He says, oh no, I had a live. Oh yes, Mike, you did. We had a whole sci-fi conversation yesterday. You did miss it. That's true. You'd have loved it, I'm sure. We had a whole sci-fi thing. Yes, absolutely. Yes. All right. Let's see. Emily says, would you talk about any significance of choosing to vote early versus waiting to election day, especially in swing states? I'm in North Carolina. Thanks. To be forward, I don't, except that you just get it done early. I mean, I think you vote when you want to vote. I don't see any difference. For some states, it's slower because they have rules. Some people don't realize they make rules on when they count the votes. This is true. So they'll say, oh, votes come in, all the early votes come in. You think, oh, great, all the votes are in early. Count them. No, you cannot count them to a certain time. And the logic behind it is if you count the votes early and that gets out the numbers, that will affect election day, right? So if I know that, oh my God, Harris is winning. Oh my God, now more Trump voters come out because of that, or the reverse, right? Either way. And I get that, but I think they should count them all at the same time. Same day at least, right? Count them the same day at least, right? That kind of thing. But yes, the more mail-in votes, often it takes longer to count. That's the only difference. So yes. Mike says, Harris is drinking the Kool-Aid and thinks she's better than she is. She's in a power trip. Mike, I think you're right. I agree with you. I think you're right. I think she does believe that, right? And look, if you think you're awesome and you still do your homework, good on you. But if you think you're awesome and you don't, I'll give you a story. Mike, you'll like this too. This is a Marine Corps story. When I was in the Marine Corps, I went to one of my schools that I was going to as a youngin'. And I thought I was the smartest guy in the class. I was doing very well. Every school I'd gone to, Marine Corps, I was always number one in my class. So I thought I'm being number one again because I'm the coolest guy in the world. So we're going to have a massive test coming up here, one of my schools. And I decide, it's like Monday morning, I don't need that. I'm super cool. I'm the smartest guy in the world. So I decided to spend the entire weekend hanging out with my buddies on the strip. That was the right answer for me. I don't have to worry about that. And there was a guy who I did not know then. I knew who he was, but I didn't know what he was doing. He stayed in the barracks. This is back in the barracks. They have rooms now, but we had barracks, right? This is back in the barracks. He stayed in the barracks whole weekend, studying. Take a test. Next day, I'm number 2. He's number 1. This was over 30 years ago. I still remember it because it stung. Because I thought I was the smartest, coolest guy around, and nobody could beat me. And boy, was I wrong. Now, was he smarter than me? I don't know, but he sure as hell outworked me. He outstudied me, right? He beat me on the ground because I thought I can go out and get hammered if I want to. Who cares? I do whatever I want. I can hang with my boys all weekend. I don't have to. That is her problem. Like if she thinks she's me when I was 19, yes, absolutely. So, and I still remember that. Like I learned a lesson. I'm like, if you beat me, it won't be because you out-hustled me. I'm going to hustle to the best of my ability. You were just better than me, but not because I decided to do nothing and you out-hustled me. It was such a valid lesson for me as a young man because it really showed me, I mean, in my face, that don't get the fever, right? And that no matter how smart you are or think you are, whether I was smart or not, doesn't matter. Someone can always outwork you. You can always be outworked. No matter how smart you are, no matter how smart they are, somebody can outwork you. And I think that was an example of what happened. Harris outworked him. It's just it. So, KoolAid says she wants to TKO. I agree, right? I think if you look at, Pierce said this and so did I. I think we saw the same thing. She beat him, but it was on points, right? It wasn't that she knocked him out. I think that's correct. She did not knock Trump out. She beat him on points. I think it's true. She beat him on points, and she wants to just drop him. Look, let me be clear. If she were to drop him, it would be magical, and she would be like the greatest. It's dropping Ali, right? I mean, if you could do it, that's amazing, right? I find it hard. I find it hard to find her doing it, but the only way that happens, and let me not say it's impossible. It's not impossible. It's highly unlikely, but not impossible. She would have to prepare perfectly, and he would have to completely blow it off again. Like, be like, I don't care, whatever. And she does double her prep, and he does nothing. Then maybe. What I think the answer is she wants multiple debates so she can beat him on points 3 times. That becomes the equivalent over time of the knockout. If that makes any sense, right? If she could do 3 debates and beat him on points 3 times in a row, that could be done. That is a realistic goal in my eyes, right? That could be done. She does that. I mean, it's the same as knockout. If she could do that. Yes. All right. Roy says, all the Republicans who would be better than Harris are endorsing Harris. Now, how bad are the Republicans that the Bushes, the Cheneys, and Romneys are against Trump? How bad are the Republicans, the Bushes, Cheneys, and Romneys are against Trump? I'm not sure where you're going with that one, but I think my point still stands. The establishment is absolutely on her side. They want to get rid of her. Christine says, I wish he would prepare and expose her. If he doesn't, he's finished, Christine. I don't think he can go there again and take a second loss like that. In fact, if he did take a second loss, he probably, his ego couldn't, he wouldn't go back for another one. He wouldn't. I don't think he would. His ego wouldn't allow him to. He just would keep going and then blame somebody else and find a way to blame. So yes, absolutely. Kim says, this thought comes after I've seen the fact checks the moderators didn't do on her as they should have. Those fact videos are being aired now, and he won't let her buy with it again. Again, Kim, I think he has to, which I don't get. Why does he not want to debate her? Unless, look, it's possible he's playing games and then going to say yes after. It's possible, maybe. I still think it's a mistake for Harris, but I think Mike is right. I think she's got the fever. She thinks she can beat everybody. I think that's true. Roy goes on to say, a man who's not in control of his ego and emotions has no business leading. I think a lot of people agree with you, Roy. I think that's why he got hurt. I think that's why I think a lot of people were worried. You've seen people with massive cope on this, and some people walking away being very unhappy. RFK Jr. said it. He's like, a lot of independents were disappointed. He's not wrong. He's not wrong. Absolutely. Absolutely. Mike says, oh, to Emily, vote early. What if there's bad weather, funny business, broken machines, no paper? Valid point. You know what? I agree. Mike, valid point. Thank you, Mike, for that. Absolutely. Yes. Yes. Ryan says, I'm with you, Larry. If I were Harris, there's no chance in hell I'd want to debate again. Yes. No way would I. Be like, nope, don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Take the win, walk away. Yes. Oh, Joel, I like this. Harris didn't have a strong win. They won a bloodbath. Agreed. Yes. I think you're right. And I think now, but my issue is, I get why establishment want her to go into that battle. Why does she? Does that make sense, right? So I get it. If everybody like, hey, Larry, go there and fight this war. Well, I'm not fighting this war. I'm the one getting shot, right? I need to have a reason to go fight this war too. So I understand why the establishment wants to throw her to the wolves and hope she can destroy Trump for them. Makes sense for them, right? You think the Cheneys wouldn't love if Trump got hammered? They would love that. The Bushes, they would love if Trump got destroyed. They would love that. That'd make their whole year. Now they can go back to being the old school guys and invade Iraq again or something, whatever they want to do, right? They would do that, of course. They would love that stuff. And for the problem for them is that Trump is so popular that if he isn't soundly defeated, people stay. They still stay. And they don't want that. They want that Trump group to kind of be a little there, maybe go get a show on Fox News or something and leave them alone. That's what they want. So yes. Mike goes on to say, the Cheneys are not relevant. Establishment rhinos just want to maintain power like Dems, but rank and file Republicans have more power, unlike Democratic Party. Okay. If you mean internally, do they have more power? Yes, I think you're right. Externally, they still have cash, man. And cash still matters. Cash still matters. So I think you're right. Internally, the Republican Party internally is absolutely loyal to Trump. I agree with you completely, right? They absolutely loyal to Trump, 100%. But then there's also cash that's outside. They have an effect. They have an effect. It doesn't mean that they're going to win. I'm not saying that, but they have an effect. They're not, you're saying they're not relevant. I would say they're not as powerful. They are relevant though, just maybe not to the same level they were. So yes. All righty. Let's see here. Alexa, how are you? So glad you're a member. I hear you. Eric Weinstein was talking about this topic on Piers Morgan as well. It was very interesting. Yes. Absolutely. Yes. They're all talking about it, right? They're all talking about it. Yes. Let's see here. Jennifer says, Frank Luntz is BFS with Kevin McCarthy. Yeah, of course. Frank is much more of an establishment Republican. That's true. He liked Trump when Trump came out because what he saw Trump as was a populist that was a right-wing populist. So early on, Frank was okay with Trump. Now Frank's scared, a little bit scared of Trump. However, Frank is Republican. He does not want Harris to win. And that's why he didn't want to say it. Because while Frank would prefer, in Frank's world, he'd like a mix between populist Trump and the Cheneys. He wants something right in the middle. That's his perfect world. Right in the middle is what he wants. Right now doesn't exist. What he wants right now does not exist. But that's what he wants. If he got his perfect world, it'd be like Bush sprinkling some Trump on top. That is what he would like if he could get his world that way. But he would still rather have Trump than Harris. He does not want Harris to win. That's why he was so worried about saying it. He is buddies with McCarthy. He's a much more establishment Republican. I think it's true. So yes. Ryan says, again, Ryan, thank you for being a member. I agree with Frank Luntz on the inflation front. Yes. Jennifer's like, I can't stand him. I'm not saying that he needs to be your best friend, Jennifer, but he can be, doesn't make him wrong. How about that? There we go. Doesn't mean I can make him wrong. There we go. Let's see here. The anti-corporatist says, my stance is simple. Trust women, trust doctors. It's fine. I'm not going to fight you. Yep. Mike says, Larry Sharpe, the public is very different than politicos in DC. I think there's a different feeling among people that are just starting to pay attention to the election, majority of voters. Agreed. And this is my point, right? There were a lot of people that the first time they actually saw Harris in any form of position of authority was the debate this week. So for those people who, to your point, there was something like over 60 million people watched that debate. Over 60 million people watched that debate. And a lot of those people, whatever chunk it was, had never seen Harris in any authority whatsoever. They'd seen Trump, obviously, in authority before. He was president before, his TV shows, right? His stuff, of course. But this is the first time. So her expectations were far lower. So you have much lower expectations, and then you show up and do well. Okay. So I think you're right. But if you are a hardcore Republican, a hardcore Trump supporter, you weren't changed. If you're a hardcore Democrat or Harris supporter, you're not changed. But if you weren't sure, and again, I keep saying this, people go, it's not going to move many people. It doesn't have to. It doesn't have to, right? Taylor Swift, if she gets an extra 200,000 votes, it's 200,000, 100,000. Could win the election. Could win the election. So, Ryan, thank you so much for the $5 super chat. The only thing that the Bushes, Cheneys, McCains, and Romneys did was create a mass exodus away from the GOP. I left that GOP in 2013. Yeah, they there's no doubt you made a very valid point, Ryan. They set up Trump, right? Trump can't be Trump in the Republican Party without them doing this. You're totally correct, right? And the problem is it's their fault. And so, but they're still blaming Trump and they want to go back to their ways. So they're like, okay, we have wrecked the GOP to a point where now a guy like Trump can take over and throw us out, even though it's our party. Well, was our party. It was our party. Now he threw us out of it. We want it back. So let's team up with Democrats to get rid of him out of our party. And Democrats are like, oh, okay, we get to win? Like, yeah, you can win. Because again, remember, whether Democrats or Republicans win, Bushes, Cheneys, McCain's, Romneys, they're good. Like, they're not going to be starving or not have political power or not go on 9 vacations and not have 4 homes. They're fine. They're fine. So they would like to go back to their old ways. And if you got to give the Democrats, a presidency for a couple of years, whatevs. They figure they're going to get it back in 4. I wish I was joking, but you guys know I'm not joking. They're like, it's fine. We'll take it for 4 years. We'll move on. Doesn't matter. That's how they're thinking right now. And I know some of you are like, but wait a minute, that's an American. Yeah. Correct. Yes, absolutely. Yes. So, all right, I'm grabbing some more of these. Jennifer says, I'm pro-choice. I don't think Trump actually wanted Roe v. Wade to be overturned. I'm going to tell you what I honestly think on this one. I don't think he cared. I honestly think he didn't care. He was like, oh, that's what my party wants is make them happy. All right, we'll do that. Doesn't affect him. He doesn't care. If some woman gets pregnant by him, he would just make sure she flies to a state where she can get an abortion. He won't care. Or even to a country. Won't bother him at all. He'll do what he wants. The wealthy don't have to worry about this. The wealthy don't have to be concerned at all. It means nothing to them. So I think he doesn't care. That's what I think. I think he doesn't care at all. The anti-corporatist says, I mean, Lindsey Graham, Donald Trump's golfing buddy, has straight up said that he wants a national abortion ban. Trump would sign that shit if he made it to his desk. I don't think he would. I don't think Trump would. First off, I don't see an abortion ban happening at all. I don't see it. You can see where they've tried to ban abortions across the states, and one of two things have happened. It's failed miserably. Even in places like Kansas, Ohio, it failed miserably. Or if it passes, you watch the GOP run away from it so fast. Like, well, no, we didn't mean that. No. They run away. So I don't see enough states. I don't see enough people. America isn't there. America is not at the abortion ban at all. America is at the moment, and I don't know where you individually are, but America is in, there are exceptions, and here there should be a line somewhere. That's where America as a whole. That could happen. Could there be like a ban after X weeks or months? Maybe that could happen. I think that's a possibility. Maybe. I just don't see it any other way. So, all righty. And Jennifer's with me. She goes, no, he would not. I'm with you, Jennifer. I don't think he will. I agree with you. I do not think he will. Yes. Daniel says, I also think Trump wants abortion to not be a federal issue. 100%. Yes. Ryan says, I'm pro-life And I agree with you on the Dems making the overturning of Roe v. Wade into an anti-woman. Yep. Someone sent a memo to the Daily Wire and let them know. Yeah, I brought this up literally years ago. I was expressing that if you are pro-life, you have to treat abortion as a cultural issue before you treat it as a legal issue, or you lose it. And I think if you go back, I don't know how long you've been in that movement at all, Ryan, but if you go back about 20 years, give or take, the pro-life movement was really negative and nasty and horrible only. It was all about women are evil, people are evil, they didn't care. It was a very nasty movement. Now, there are some nasty elements of it, of course, but the movement in general is nowhere near as nasty. The movement in general now is more about helping women. It's a much nicer, open, helping women after they've had the baby, providing services for women, which didn't exist 30 years ago. It was just, you're evil. That was the entire movement. I mean, I'm exaggerating, but there's a big difference. And my thought process was they were actually winning. The pro-life movement was winning. And they were winning because the average American woman didn't really care much. They were able to get one if they wanted. Didn't matter that much. They thought Roe v. Wade was the law of the land. They weren't that concerned. And people were moving towards, well, maybe I shouldn't. And I've always said the same thing. If you actually want less or fewer abortions in the country, you probably want to make it to where women choose to not do it. That's the best defense. Women decide, no, I'm not going to. And they decide that, right? So it's still their body, their choice, but we're making an environment to where they go, no, why would I? I have options. I feel comfortable. I feel safe. Why would I have an abortion? I'm happy to have a child, right? That's, if you make the world a better, safer, better place for women, as a general rule, I mean, period across the world, the safer and more comfortable women feel, the more children they will have. They will have it. That's most women, not all, obviously. The last time I saw data, about 10% of women literally just don't want to have kids. It's about 10. They're like, not interested, not part of my life, done. But about 90% do. So if you create an environment to where women can safely and happily have children, most will. You don't got to change any laws, nothing. They'll do it on their own without you having to bug them. Most will. So, yes. All righty. William goes on to say, turning pro-life into anti-woman is working, making more sense. Should we repeal the 19th Amendment? Well, we'll walk down that road, right, William? Let's go all the way down. Absolutely. That's good. Yeah. No, by the way, to answer your question, no, we should not do that. No. Yes. All righty. Let's see here. Raza says, we call El Graham Lizzie in North Carolina. That's very good. I like that. Let's see. Missy says, I'm pro-choice for very, very personal reasons. It's my one left stance I kept when I was the Democrats. I'm vehemently against banning it. I agree. Banning doesn't actually work. I know some people who are pro-life get mad at me when I say that, but what we found is banning actually just winds up the way the world works. The outcome is you punish poor women. That's the outcome. Wealthy women go and get whatever they want whenever they want to. Poor women are stuck. So that's what you wind up doing. So I'd rather create a better environment so that women choose to not have abortions. And again, if we make a better world for women, they'll do it on their own. We do not have to force them. The government has to be involved. It's how it works. So Joel says Roe v. Wade was settled. Yes, the Democrats pushed and pushed to make it an issue. So they ruled on it to make it a state's issue. It's their fault. Oh, interesting. Yeah, kind of true. I think that's kind of true. Yes. Shelley says, rhinos have been trying to stop the MAGA movement since Reagan said it in 1980. You're not wrong. Yes. Personally, says Roy, pro-life isn't anti-woman, but a government making women carry to term and give birth without any support isn't anti-woman. It's worse. It's anti-woman on behalf of women religious view. Ooh. Even worse. Yes. Mike says, Bill Clinton used the phrase well. Bill Clinton was good at that, right? Bill Clinton was good at that. I agree with you, right? Look, obviously, he has issues too, but I can always do what I can always, give credit where credit was due. Bill Clinton was a very good politician. He was very talented. That's what, maybe not good's the wrong word. He was a very talented, that's a better word. He was a talented politician. That's what I would say. Absolutely. Pickerbell says, I'm with you, Missy. Working in high-risk pregnancy care showed me every single day why access to abortion is essentially healthcare. It's essential healthcare. There we go. All right. Let's see if I can grab some more of these. Jennifer says, maybe this election will have late night boxes of ballots. I will tell you this all the time. The best defense against any of these issues is a whole lot of poll watchers. That's the answer. A whole lot of poll watchers. That's the issue. The more of them, the better. Absolutely. So, Mike Voss says, from no sound bites allowed, Harris benefited from the expectations being so low as being underground. True. Agreed. But as we move forward, she loses more, just like the debate killed her chances with Dearborn, Michigan progressives that she needs. Yes. However, she has a trump card for that. Pun not really intended, but she does. And that is she'll throw walls in there. And throwing walls and having them be there will help. That will help. And that's her goal. Her goal is say this, throw walls in, hope it balances itself out. That will be her goal. I know she's going to do that. Of course she would, right? She'll throw them in there. Same way wherever she goes, she'll throw people. One thing that she has that Trump did not have, but now has. Trump did not have great surrogates. He does now. But you go back 3-4 months, he didn't have great surrogates. One thing Harris has is great surrogates, right? She can throw Michelle Obama into a state, and Democrats love Michelle Obama. And as I always say, this election is not about conversion. This election is about turnout. That's the issue. And I don't think anyone turns out voters more right now in the Democratic side than Michelle Obama. I mean, all of them have good. Oprah's good. Even Barack's good. I think Michelle is better at turning out to vote. Michelle's the best one they have at turning out to vote. So you shove her into a spot where you're worried they won't vote and have her go work that crowd, right? I think that's your way of trying to get past it. So that at least they feel bad, and at a minimum, don't vote Republican. At a minimum, preferably show up on election day voting Democrat. That's the issue. So yes. Amy says Kamala's a drone programmed to a script. Yes, and I think that's correct. And I also think that when you look at debates, that's part of the plan. That's part of what you do, right? That is part of what you do. So Roy says he's scared. He cannot even look at her. He's not a fan of strong women. I don't know if that's what it was, whether he didn't know how to handle it. It's tough, right? You're in today's environment. How do you, as an old white guy, go up against a woman who now, to quote Trump, all of a sudden black, right? I'm teasing, obviously, but yeah, a black woman now, right? It's not easy. So you may be right, but I could see him just not knowing how to act. I could see that too. Thinking, I don't want to look at it because then I'm glaring, then I'm mean. I could see that too, right? I could see that too. I don't know. I could see either way for sure. That's all I'm saying. So, all righty. Let's see. Joel says Maha. Didn't say Maha at all. Didn't say Maha at all. Yes. Just Me says the Dems were the ones afraid of Bobby and not wanting him in the first debate. The Dems are still afraid of Bobby. I mean, to be forward, that probably adds to my conspiracy theory of crushing him. Because think about this. If Bobby Kennedy doesn't get anything out of this, if Trump loses this, and again, I'm not saying he's going to. I know Frank Lunn said that. I'm not saying that. I'm saying it's still close and it could go either way. If Trump does lose this, Bobby gets nothing. RFK gets nothing. And Democrats are very happy about that. They killed two birds with one stone. They put Trump under and they put Bobby Kennedy under. If the Democrats win this, they have two very decisive victories on this one, which is why, again, I keep saying maybe they're prepared to roll dice, throw all the money into it, throw everything into it, have Harris go back out. Harris won't do anything else. You will not see her do anything. She'll just prep for the next debate and she'll be ready again. The question is, will Trump be ready this time? If Trump's not ready, he's done. If he's ready, he can light her up. He's a better debater than she is. I mean, again, now I don't want to take anything away from Harris. She prepped well to the point earlier. She absolutely is, without question. She's a drone, but that's effective, Amy. Amy's right. She's a drone. That's effective. She is a good drone. She's good at that, clearly. If he doesn't prepare, that drone will beat him. If he prepares, he can take care of her. So, yes. Ryan says, Larry, I can agree with half of what you said in your opening monologue. Oh, it's good or bad. I guess. Yay? Yes. Either one of those two. Sarah says, I hope Trump agrees to the debate. They can do it on Fox. I do think they should do it on Fox. Just do it again. If I'm Trump, yeah. Right? If I'm Harris, I guess again they want to. Imagine, but again, that's a gamble here. If Harris goes on Fox, and if Trump doesn't pull his head out of his derriere, and Harris spends the next 2 weeks studying everything, learning everything, having her scripts prepared, and Trump goes, whatever, it's on Fox, I'm safe because Hannity's here, that would bury him. He can't lose a Fox debate. He cannot lose a Fox debate. If he loses a Fox debate, pack it in. Just pack it in. It's over if you lose one of those. So yes. Opus number 1, thank you so much for the $5, my friend. Every bit counts. I appreciate it so much. It is very good. It keeps me going. It definitely keeps me going. Thank you. Thank you. Alexa, thank you again for the $5. I thought the faces she was making made her look like she was staring into a bright light and trying to read a sign in the distance. Well, 2 things. For those of you who've been on stage before, you know this. Many of these stages are actually so bright you can't see. I have been in front of crowds where I can't see the crowd. I'm not joking. I don't know. I'm doing this as if I can see the crowd, and I can't see the crowd because the lights are so bright in my eyes that I'm assuming there's a crowd. I can't even see them. So for some people, that's shocking. Some people, they can't. You can see it with some new or first-time people who run. They get on some kind of debate stage, or they get into some type of event where they go into a stage. They've never been on stage like that before. They've never had multiple cameras to figure out which camera's theirs. They've never had all the bright lights where it's so bright you can hardly see. They've never had that. And it can be scary. Like, it can be very upsetting, and it can be scary. Now, she has been in bright lights before. She has, but never this kind of debate. Never against Trump, who, whether she doesn't think that now, but I'm sure before she thought, this guy's a monster. He could chew me up. I'm sure she thought that. Now she doesn't. Now she's queen of the world. But I think then she's probably afraid, worried, concerned. I think you see it in her body language. Early on, she was a bit scared, a little bit nervous, and then she's like, I got this. Now, the second piece you bring up, you're not the only one who's going to say that. You're not the only person who has said that. Other people, and one thing we know for sure, Harris has a good team. She has the best that money can buy. You know that. That's true. Her team is thinking just like you, Alexa. Hey, those smiles, got to go. Cut them. Stop that glaring. Stop that so-and-so. We got to stop that. And they're literally going to practice with it. They're going to say, change that, change this, change this, change that. Now, if I'm with a candidate, I ask them to think about a certain thing, make like a default thought. I'm serious. You make a default thought. So when you're not actively listening to the person, you put a default thought, which gives you a kind of smile, like a non-resting bee face, but not a big smile, right? You're thinking that way. If need be, I ask them to nod their head yes. I do it often. If you see me in a debate, I'll just do this while I'm talking. Well, someone's talking, I just nod their head. Just do that. Nodding your head says, I'm hearing you. I'm okay. I'm hearing you. And it also makes it think like you're not afraid. So I'll offer them to just nod their heads. I do it too. If you ever see me in a debate, people say, I'll go, I'll nod my head. And I think that's a better way of going, or whatever the case may be. So thank you for that. All righty. If I want to ask the question I always ask, have you clicked the button that is like yet? Have you hip checked it? Have you head butted it? Have you given it a power elbow off the top rope? Have you done that? You have not? Okay. Why do you hate Alexa? She's a wonderful woman. And you hate her like that. Why? Why would you do that? She's right here. You can see her. And you will not hip check or elbow smash the button that is also known as like. I don't know why you hate her. She's a wonderful person. I'm now mad at you. And so is she. Shame on you. Click the button that's like. And if you want to share it, please share it wherever it is, whether that is Facebook, whether that is Twitter, please do so. If you want to subscribe on YouTube, please click the subscribe button and notifications. Every time I go live, you can pop on board. It does matter. You're going to super chat me, as Alexa just did. You may become a member, as Alexa is. You may click that button that is join for $4.99 per month so I can do more and more of this. I actually am trying to do more. If you notice, I'm on like almost every night now. I've been trying to come on more and more. I will also be on tomorrow in a very special Libertarian Drinking Coffee Live at 3 p.m. And I'm also doing a special, believe it or not, I will be on the Dylan Burns show discussing whether or not we should be in Ukraine. That'll be tomorrow at 6:30 p.m. Eastern. I will spread that on my social media, so you'll see it if you want to join. It will be live. Me and through the people, two people saying that we should be fighting in Ukraine, and two saying we shouldn't. I'm on the shouldn't side, in case you didn't know that. I don't want us fighting in Ukraine. But now they'll get mad at me and say, don't you want Ukraine to win? I'm sure that'll happen. But anyway, I think you may enjoy it. So please, if you have time, please enjoy. So yes. All righty. Amy goes on to say, it was not anything close to a fair debate. It was biased, snarky. Yep, agreed. It was just plain terrible. We deserve better. Yep, I agree. All righty. Let's say here. If I grab a couple more of these. Shelly says, I couldn't stand Kamala smiling about the death tolls in Ukraine. That was disgusting. Yeah. Yes. 100% agree. Yes. It was really weird. Yes. Yeah. The anti-corporate says, you talked about it yesterday, Larry, and you said, no, it's Tiffany earring. Yeah, I don't think it is. I stand by that. I don't think it is. I get people talking about it. I think it's a regular earring. I don't think it is that special thing where she can hear stuff. Look, it could happen. I just don't think so. It's the reason why I say it is, what if it fell out of her ear and it cracks and you see a little thing pop up? What if someone checks her? What if someone finds out? What if any one of her staff decides they're mad at her and they want to screw her over and they tell somebody? I just think there are so many ways that this could go wrong, and it's not worth it, right? I don't think it's worth it. That's it. So Basic Beach, how are you? Says, my concern about voter turnout, if I compare the nation with my home state of Florida and others, the comparison of registered Republicans versus turnout is concerning in my opinion. Yes, agreed. As I mentioned, there are registered voters. There are more Democrats in the country than there are Republicans. That's true, by about 10 million, give or take. So there's more registered Democrats. If all of them show up, Democrats could win just on those numbers. Now, of course, their goal is 90% of Democrats show up and 60% of Republicans show up. In that case, Harris wins, clearly. But the reverse is also true. If 90% of Republicans show up, 60% of Democrats show up, Trump wins. It's a guarantee. So that's the goal. The goal, I think, in this one is all about getting the most of their people out is the key. So, yes. Let me grab a couple more of these. I appreciate all the comments, so many of them. Kim does say, I would not be one bit surprised if Harris used Bluetooth earrings. Yeah, I would be surprised. I would be surprised. Yeah. So Mike thinks I'm wrong. He says, I can imagine the Nova H1A priest being real, just like Brazil gave questions to Hillary and laptop was real. Dems would do it if they thought they could get away with it. But no, I don't think it happened. Yeah, I don't think it happened either. I'm not saying it's not possible. I just can't. I have trouble seeing it, right? I'm trying to get it, right? If she didn't have time, yes. If she didn't, if she couldn't memorize stuff, yes. But she is a prosecutor. She memorizes presentations for a living, or used to at least for a living. So she can memorize, right? She can memorize. And she had time. If you have someone who can memorize and you have time, why use the earpiece? She's not doing anything. She's not doing media. She's literally doing nothing. So every day, sit your booty down in a chair and I'll grill you for 4 hours a day. You'll be fine. And I think we saw that. I do. Ryan, thank you for the $5. George Carlin once said, the reason why I don't complain about politicians is that they are voted in by us and that this is the best that we can do. Ooh. Yes, with a caveat. Yes, with a caveat. And the caveat is the system has been set up to where we don't get actual choice, right? Think about this. We talked about it last night. Literally, I have won as many primaries as Harris has. I've won just as many, equal amount. I've won the exact same number of primaries she has won. 0. What was the Democratic, process they used to pick Harris? There was none. Biden said, go forward, do good things. And everyone went, oh, yes, oh, hail. And she became the nominee. That's it. She didn't win the first primary in 2020. Didn't win any there. Didn't win any here. No one voted for her in a booth. No one did. And she's the gal. She's the one. And here's the next piece, though. Even if you like Trump, doesn't matter. The American people didn't want Trump Biden, and they got it until Biden decided, we'll make a Trump Harris. Most people didn't want that either. So is it really the best we can do? Yes, if you blame us for allowing the system to collapse, then yes. If you want us to fix the system and they won't let us, a little bit harder. A little bit harder. So yes. All righty. Kim says, Tulsi Gabbard was supposed to be prepping Trump. Yes. But then Gene says, does Trump actually listen to his team? No. No. Harris did, by the way. Harris was actually had Hillary Clinton and Joe Biden help her with her debates. That's true. Yes, she did. Absolutely. So, all right. Ryan goes, I forgot the Kamala earring. Yeah. Mike says, I should have prepped him. I would have helped. Yes, you would have, Mike. Anybody would have helped. 100%. Anybody would have helped. It is crazy. Basic Beach says, Democrats are better at blue no matter who versus Republicans who seem to fracture real easily with Trump. It's because Orange Man bad, right? Orange Man bad actually works. I know a lot of people who aren't Democrats don't believe that, but it's true. It does work, right? One thing Trump is very good at is Trump's personality makes most people have strong opinions of him. Love him, hate him, despise him, adore him. So a lot of people have strong opinions about him. But when it comes to that blue no matter who, it's people who can't stand him, who think he's the end of the world, right? So yes. Okay. Mike, look at you. Talks about the reason why Germany is being reimagined is because Hollywood wants to paint the U.S. just as evil as the SS. It has nothing to do with actual soldiers or warfare. Tough for me to buy that one. I'm not going to buy that one. I think that's not true. I think there's several things. I think you find writers now, two things. One, are recognizing that we are sending our soldiers into areas that make them do bad things, and they don't want our soldiers to be seen as bad. That's number one. Number two, I think they're desperately trying to make stories that are better than two-dimensional stories. And number three, I think they do want to make empire in general not as bad. So maybe you're right in that regard. I don't think people in Hollywood or anything like that think SS are good. I guess where I'm going with that. Yeah, I that's the part I can't see. Empire, yes. SS, I can't see it. It seems too much. Yeah. All righty. Shelley says, RFK and Gabbard and Vivek were on different platforms running interference. Fact-checking on different platforms without debate. That's a smart move. If I'm Trump, I'm agreeing with that's a smart move. My only issue with the Trump, I think he's making a mistake. If he, didn't have a press conference, he should have. He only went to Friendly Fox. He should have gone to a press conference, open press conference, and dealt with this issue and taken the slings and arrows, or completely ignored it and went on something else. He didn't. He just went to complain. That was a mistake. Have a press conference, take it on hardcore, face-to-face, option one. Option two, ignore it and send your people overseas to fix wars. Those are the two options. I think that. Mike says, Trump doesn't have the self-awareness to think, wait a minute, these moderators are trying to get into a debate with me, or she's trying to bait and prod me on the topics that are not important. Okay, I'll buy that. Okay, maybe he doesn't. But that's his team's job to recognize and say, when this happens, do this. When this happens, do that. Yes. So Mike says, Das Boot. Yes. Das Boot is, yes, that's the movie. I think 81, 82, something like that. I actually saw it in movie theaters, believe it or not. I was in high school, I think. So yeah, that was great. And I saw it in German with English subtitles. So Miguel says Band of Brothers. Yes, that was also a good series. That's the American series. I was thinking more about German series, but Band of Brothers, yes, Band of Brothers. If there is an equivalent, there isn't. Yeah, there's no equivalent in German I can think of. Yeah, but yes, absolutely. Michael's going to say it's a great film and recommend it. Yes, it was a great film. It's a great film. And again, it's the thing that's good about Japanese have war films like that too. Japanese war films and German war films are all about the futility of war. Like it never ends well. Like everything's like, why do we bother doing this? Don't do this again, which is good for us to see. So maybe we don't want to go bomb everybody all the time. So yes, Andrew says downfall. Yes. The Untergang. Yes. Also very good. That's the one where if any of you have ever seen, they do the Austrian guy with the funny mustache who took over Germany. That guy, H. I don't want to say it YouTube, I get canceled. So yes, H, him. Ever seen those memes of him, like when he's yelling on the phone or when he's yelling about to people, that comes from that movie called Downfall. That obviously a German movie, and it's about the last days of the mustache man and before he unalives himself, right before that. And it's a great movie to understand where people's heads were and how they fooled themselves. The destruction of children was very interesting to see that. And the actor, oh my God, like you believed it. That actor just, if you are interested in history, Andrew's correct. That is a great movie to watch. There's some war in it too, right? But it's the last days of the war. I believe it's May of 45. And the Russians have surrounded Berlin and they're now trying to take the capital city and end the war. That's the last days. It's that one. It's a very good movie. They're even during it, they're delusional. They're talking about counterattacks. They're talking about rebuilding Berlin. Goebbels is talking about afterwards, we'll negotiate a peace and then we'll fight the Russians. I mean, things like that, just utterly delusional. And still, like, they're being bombed. And they're like, oh, then we'll do this, then we'll do that. Dude, you're doing nothing but off on yourself. You're doing nothing. That's it. So Sarah says, if Nicole Shanahan becomes California governor, Bobby will need a running mate in 2028. Kennedy show up 2028. Let's not go there. I thought you liked me, Sarah. Why would you punish me that way? Why would you punish? I've been saying before, I might run for governor of New York, right? I've been trying to do this for a lot of years already. For those who don't know, for 6 years already. So maybe I can knock it out in 8. We'll see. I've been trying for a long time. Let me go that route before we start talking this. But thank you for that. I appreciate it. That's great. So anyway, I do appreciate what you guys talked about. Yes. All righty. Pinkerville says, I haven't seen enough of her with foreign leaders to get rid of diplomacy. I wish I could find out more. Oh, okay. I'm not sure who that was for. Yes. Yeah. All righty. I'll walk down a couple of these roads. Ryan says, Saving Private Ryan, Band of Brothers, Fury, Inglourious Bastards, Valkyrie, and my favorite World War II movies / TV series. Yeah, Valkyrie also shows the Germans in a better light. It shows the two sides. The sides who just supported the mustache man, and the sides who were like, why are we doing this? Let's end this. Let's get a peace. Let's get a, and it was my point last night talking about talking to your enemies. There were German officers who were like, this war is over. Can we just get it? Can we stop bombing each other? Let's end it. You win. It's over. We should have never done this. Let's off him. Give the Allies the top guys they want, and let's end this. Let's go back home and rebuild our nation. Let's do this. And there was a part of the movie Cross of Iron where one of the officers is trying to stay during a Russian attack. And the senior officer gives him orders. He says, you are going back to Berlin now. Gives him orders, right? And he's like, no, I'm going to stay here. And the officer, the general, knows the war is over. And he says, no. He goes, soon this war will be over, and Germany will need men like you to rebuild her. And he sends the officer away. The Russians are coming. Like, no, this war's over, but someone's got to rebuild Germany. You go back. And again, this is a piece of that. The difference with Inglourious Bastards, by the way, is it's fan fiction. That's based on nothing, right? The other movies, Saving Private Ryan, Band of Brothers, Fury, Valkyrie, are all based on something real, on reality. Inglourious Bastards is just fan fiction, which I'm not saying it's bad, but just to understand, it's not based on anything real. It's just fan fiction. So yeah, but the others are all good. Band of Brothers was also amazing series. Also, Saving Private Ryan, yep, all amazing series. And again, Band of Brothers. That one of the parts, if you remember that, you see it on YouTube. There is a part during the last, I think it was the final season of Band of Brothers, where the Germans are surrendering everywhere, and one of the generals surrenders his unit, and he asks the American, "May I address my soldiers before you take us into custody?" He goes, yeah. And the German officer announces in German, and there's a translator, And the German officer is saying things that landed for every single American. It was a commonality of fighting in combat, whether you were American, German, Russian, French, wherever you were, that concept. So he's basically telling his men, it's over, right? Accept surrender, it's over. We've lost the war. You're not going to be able to have a great life, but have the best when you can. We have to rebuild, that kind of things like that. But we were together. We had a purpose, blah, blah. And every American is listening is like, yeah, that's us too. That's us too. We got to go back home and rebuild up. Yep, that's us too. Yeah, same thing. So that was interesting. So I am a big fan of the Band of Brothers series. So, all righty. Let's see if we can go here. Shelley says, I understand German, but don't speak the language. It freaks out my German-speaking friends. Me too, right? I speak a little bit, as you can tell, here or there. I'll say a couple of words. My mother obviously was German, the flag right here. So I have a connection, obviously, to that. And my family members, my grandfather and my uncle were both in the Wehrmacht, and they both were captured in the Russian front and both wounded in the Russian front. My grandfather died from his wounds on the Russian front, and my uncle did not die until later on. He had shrapnel in his body, and he eventually died from it too. So yes. All right. If I can grab some more of these. William says the majority of her polling bump is from response bias. Agreed. I think it's not going to be massive. I think her bump will not be massive, which is why I think they're going to try to have another one to kind of solidify that and make that happen. Jess says Harris did get called on her gun and fracking flip-flop, though. That was good. I was surprised she did that. It wasn't necessary in the question, usually expected when asking Trump something. Yeah, look, they absolutely were biased, of course, but they weren't so biased they did nothing right. They did some things right. Some, I mean, was it broken clock? They did some things right. Right? They did some. It wasn't 100% biased. It was like, yeah, 80. Whatever. So yes, 80 maybe. Yes. Okay, if I can grab some of these. Mariah says the debate was a disaster for ABC News. Trump didn't have a great night, but ABC's debating him and false fact-checking might, and emphasize the word might, bail him out. Maybe. I'm not sure. So, all right. Jonathan says, imagine thinking tax cuts for corporations is a winning message. I swear Trump is the dumbest politician I've ever seen. I don't know. It has worked in the past. I think it has worked. If I look back, you look at Clinton, Bush, Reagan, the first Bush, all of them talked about tax cuts. Reagan was open about tax cuts. Bush Sr. said no new taxes. Remember that? And got screwed because he did do new taxes when he said no new taxes. Let's see who else. Clinton talked about the age of big government over. He did it too. So did Bush Jr. And Trump did it early on. I think it can work. Jonathan, I think, and I'm not sure this is right. I think you can absolutely run a campaign on lowering taxes even for corporations. I think it's worked more than once. I think it has. I think you can't do that, as the only thing, right? I think you can do it as the only thing, but I think you can. It can work. I don't think it's that dumb. Depends on how you do it. Yeah. Mike says early voting is bad, in my opinion, because as the candidate interviews and policies and debates become more known, the vote's already made and people don't change it, even if their views change. It's a valid point. Maybe you don't want early voting that early. Maybe that's it. I think it's a valid point. Or we have to change how we do things. Either one. Pigabell says early voting is more convenient for a lot of people, but they don't count the votes as they come in. They wait till the polls close. Exactly. That's true. Yes. So Kim says, I can see it going to her head. Me too. Yes. Proud Vet says, told you Florida's well within margin of error. Pollsters have black support for Harris in the 70s. Ridiculous. It will be a miracle if Trump gets 70% of the black vote. Okay. If Harris only gets 70% of the black vote, she's in trouble. She's supposed to get 90%. Just keep that in mind. This is expectation, right? In certain cases, for example, in the debate, Mike is correct. Her expectations were very low, right? As long as she just did this, It's fine. Very low expectations. When it comes to the black vote, expectations are very high. She needs to match those or she's in trouble. If she only gets 70% of the black vote, she may not win this thing. She may not win it. She needs, if she's going to win this thing, she's got to get 80% at least. I mean, that's minimum. So Sarah says, was it me or was RFK Jr. the only one on Trump's team that was honest about his debate performance? On his team, yes. Other Republicans were honest. And they said it. You see it everywhere. Other Republicans said, they said he didn't do great. He was not great. And that he lost the debate more than Harris won it. And yeah, it's true. I mean, again, this was not a knockout. She definitely won the debate. I said it last night. I said 2 nights ago. I said it that time. I was right. He lost the debate. And I think when the polls come out, probably tomorrow or Monday, the polls start coming out. When the polls come out, you will see a blip. I don't think it'll be massive, right? If it's more than 5%, I'd be shocked. I mean, it could, but I doubt it. It's going to be, people haven't even registered. So yeah, now I can't see it being more than 10%, more than 5%. But there will be a bump. I think you'll see a bump. I think you will. So let me grab one more if I could. William goes on to say, Trump should do another debate, but only if it's with ultimate media. Like Joe Rogan, Elon, or Tim Pool. Why? Why? I don't get what you're saying. Why? If he goes on something like that, do those people vote? Maybe. I'm torn on this one, William. Part of me says that's a good idea. Part of me says that it isn't a good idea because I think don't you want him on mainstream media? Because those people who vote, people over 50 vote far more than people under 30. It's by percentage, not even close. I mean, it's like the older you get, the higher percentage it is for you to vote. And this is about votes. The younger you are, the lower percentage it is you vote. So don't you want him to be, if you care about Trump, don't you want him to be in an audience of people who are voting? I think so. So Thomas says, if she gets cocky and goes for a Fox moderated debate, then Trump has a chance. I think it's true. But again, she's cocky. I think my concern is that she actually believes it now. She's like, oh, I'm great. I could beat Trump anytime. I mean, look, maybe she can beat Trump again. Again, she prepped well. Maybe she can. But to think that she can just wipe the floor with him, unless Trump shoots himself in the foot, right? That's the only other way. If Trump screws himself over somehow, yes, but not because she's so awesome. But Trump could. No sound about Talad. Hello, Mike. Here is a serious question to consider. If Harris were fact-checked as was Trump, would she have won? If not, then it was fortifying 2024 that when the election is corrupted. No, she still would have won. She still would have won. Yeah, because the reason why she won wasn't because her answers were so great. That isn't why. The reason why she won is because Trump's were so bad. He did not do what he was supposed to do. That's my point. She didn't win. I mean, she won the debate, but it's because he lost. He did not do all the opportunities he had. Every single pundit, right-leaning, left-leaning, says it's the same thing. He blew opportunities. There were so many opportunities, Trump blew opportunities. So if they said, well, Harris, Madam Vice President, this isn't true, that isn't true. She'd be like, okay, next. Trump, you're a bad guy because people hate you. She would have done that anyway. And Trump still would have lost it and said things. So would it have been the same type of win? I think no, it would have been a lesser of win, but she still would have won. Again, she won because Trump screwed up. So it would have been less of a win, but she still would have won. Even because she would have ignored that. She wouldn't have jumped on, she would have ignored it and kept going. Obviously, he was trained. She would have ignored that and kept going. She wouldn't have drilled down on it. Trump picked it up and drilled down on it. She would have been like, next, Trump, you're a bad guy. That's it. So yes. All righty. Kim says, I dropped the link in you might want to look at the Independent Voters showed to go right along with Trump. Check it out. It's on Fox. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yes. I appreciate that. Dave says, Larry, do what Republicans do in Iowa. Vote often. Just avoid getting caught. There we go. Yes. Yes. Sarah says, Bobby talked about all of Trump's missed opportunities. He said what Larry said. Yes, it's absolutely true. That's the issue. he absolutely missed it. That's the issue. So Diotheus says, Larry, I'll be honest. I hope so. I forgot what Harris said during the debate. I remember some of the stuff Trump said, the biggest one being that he was going to send her a MAGA hat. Yeah, and this goes back to, I think you're right? This is good. This validates what I'm talking about, Mike. It wasn't that Harris was so good. That isn't the reason why she won. She was prepared. And she did better because her expectations were low. But Trump's expectations were high. He was supposed to skewer her. He was supposed to destroy her. He didn't even come close. Not even close. And that's why I don't think it would have mattered if she had been fact-checked. Guys like Diotheus wouldn't remember what she said anyway. So, yes, I think that's my point. I agree with you. I agree with you completely. Yes. All righty. Do we have any more of these? Okay. Ryan says the GOP averaged around 6% of the black vote. Thank you for $2. That's correct. That's my point, right? That's 94%. So if she's only getting 70%, that's a problem. Like, that's a problem. You can't be a Democrat and a black Democrat and only get 70% of the black vote. You need to be getting a minimum 80%, but really 90%. And that's the norm. I mean, Barack Obama got what, 97% of the black vote, some crazy like that? It's crazy. Crazy. So yeah, that's a recipe for destruction if she's only getting 70%. So just telling you that's the reality. Okay. Guillermo, how are you? Hello, Larry. I don't know if you already covered this, but do you think had Junior not suspended his campaign early and waited until October, he would have gotten a bump in the polls? 100% yes. Yes. Absolutely. Yeah. I wish there was a better third-party candidate right now. I do. I wish there was one who could get 5%. The only person we maybe can get is maybe him. That's it. So yes. Sarah goes on to say, we really need to unite. I heard Bobby say that the word liberal means free speech. Conserve means to save. Conserve liberals, save free speech. Look at that. You unite your words and everything, Sarah. Look at you. You unite, you're uniting us all. I love that. Yes. John says, Larry, RFK Jr. put a video out on YouTube today with the title End the War Machine. He explained one reason why he's supporting Trump. I'm hopeful it moves the needle and the independent voters. Maybe. Yeah, maybe. It could. We'll see. I'm not sure how to say that. Is it Lucien Thesky? Lucien Thesky? Maybe. I'm going to hope that's what it is. Are the old Republicans taking over the Democratic Party? They already have. Democrats are neocons, right? They already have. Yes. That was true a while ago. Someone in the chat, I forgot who it was. Who was in the chat talking about it, saying that it was because Clinton was the beginning of that. And as I look back, I could kind of see it. Like now, as I look back, I could probably see that's true. That was the beginning of the Democratic Party becoming neocons, right? It was back during the Clinton years. I could see it. I could. But yeah, I think it's already happened. Look at so many of the people who are supporting Harris. They're all old school Republicans, right? The Cheneys and the McCains, and they're old school Republicans. I think they have taken over. If you look at Democrats now, they are not populist. The last populist Democrats had was Bernie, and they neutered him. They took care of him. He was the last left populist. There aren't many out there anymore. Supposedly the squad was supposed to be left populist, but they're not. It's obvious they're not. Even they are, they're not really effective. So yeah. Ryan says, I will admit that few independents are going to give Harris a second look. Yeah, some will, but not many. I agree. Again, this was not huge. This was not a huge thing. It was a blip. We'll see how long it lasts. It might last a long time. It might last a long time. We will see. I'm unsure how long it will last. Jennifer says, many Muslim voters say they're going for Stein. Agreed. The anti-war left supports Stein. The problem is Stein is not a strong candidate on her own. She's not a bad candidate on her own, as far as Green candidates go, right? I'm not a Green, but as far as Green candidates go, the problem is she spent most of her time being an activist. And on top of that, she is She didn't want to run. She ran because she thought she had to. And I get that. And good for her for supporting her party. Good for her. But she would have rather had Cornel West be the nominee. And she would have rather run his campaign. Cornel West has more fire in his belly. For those of you who have watched Cornel West, that man's speaking ability, second to none. He is literally a Marxist, and he would tell you that, right? He went to Libertarian Party of California, got a standing ovation. Yeah. Cornel, I know, because I literally, if you go on my YouTube page, put in Cornel West, you'll see I was the one who moderated the debate. At the end of the debate, he got a standing O. That man can speak. When he talks, gulags sound like a good idea. Like, I used to hate gulags, but Cornel West talked about it. I think gulags are a great idea now. Oh my God. That's how good he is. He's very good at what he does. He's very, very talented, a superior speaker. Superior speaker. So there's a lot of people wish they could speak as well as him. Pickerbell says, America isn't on board with an abortion ban, but the Supreme Court is, and that's whose opinion matters. The Supreme Court said an abortion ban by default is unconstitutional. The Supreme Court is saying it must go to states, right? So I don't think that's a real fear. Is it possible that individual states create a by default abortion ban? I think that could happen, right? I don't think it can stand because I think the people, even in more red states, the vast majority of Americans culturally do not want a ban on abortion. They just don't want it. I can't see it standing. If it pops up even, I don't see it standing. It's going to go away because it's such a loser issue right now in America. That may change one day, but that's not where America is now. So yeah, they just aren't there. Let's see if I can grab here. Mule says, it's the same as a firearms ban. You'd have to be pretty extreme to go for that. And most of the country isn't there. So an entire party won't stand. I agree. The party's not there either. The country is not for a ban, but the country is in for hardcore regulation. The country is there. The country would accept a lot of terrible regulations. It would not accept an all-out ban. I think you're right. That the country's not there, but the country would accept, like, you can only, purchase a firearm on a Thursday if it's a full moon. They'll do stuff like that. They're totally fine with that kind of thing. Or you can't have this or can't have that. I think they are. But yeah. Jennifer says, thank you for being a member, by the way. It's always safe, rare, and legal. People didn't celebrate abortions. That's the other side. It was always. Yes, you're right. When Clinton was talking about abortion, he was saying that. He was saying legal, safe, and rare. That's correct. That went away. And again, once there was an attack on Roe v. Wade, people went from being pro-choice to actually being pro-abortion. You see people who wear those shirts talking about how proud they are. That didn't happen before this. Once they made the attack, women went from, doesn't matter, it's safe and it's rare and it's legal, who cares? It went to now being actually pro-abortion. I think that's an issue. You see people went there. Yes. Pickerbell says, so true, Larry. Ray, improving conditions for people to raise children. Yes, most women want to have children. Again, not all. Last time I checked, it was 10% were not interested in children, and about 10% have trouble having children in some way, shape, or form. About 10% of women. That's not true. Many women have trouble having children. About 10% cannot have children. Like they're going to have to adopt or something, right? It's not going to work for them. Use a surrogate. About 10%. So about 10% do not want children. About 10% physically cannot have children. 80% either want or will use other ways to have children in some way, shape, or form. So most women make a better condition for women. You'll get babies. They'll just do it. You don't got to get mad at them. You don't got to say anything. Leave the women alone. Most of them are going to say, yeah, they're going to want it. Yes. Torrance says, why would it not make sense to just avoid unwanted pregnancy? I think that's part of it, Torrance. I think it is. And that's also cultural, right? That is women deciding to not have unprotected sex, women deciding to decide who they're going to sleep with and when. I think that's cultural also. Am I going to legislate women who they sleep with? What a slippery, that's not even a slippery slope. What a horrible world that would be. I'm going to say slippery slope. We're already there with that one, right? I'm not going to do that. But can we have cultures to where women make different decisions, to where men make different decisions? Yes. Right? Can we make contraception easy to get, over the counter and cheap? Yeah, of course we can. And that would avoid those. Again, I'll go right back to that. I think that is cultural, right? I think it's a cultural issue. I think the more we don't do that, the more people rebel. I'm going to bring up a piece that's kind of off topic, but it's on topic in this case. When you start forcing people, they rebel, period. They just rebel. That is why for decades, very few women would consider themselves pro-abortion. That was not a thing. They would say pro-choice. Now there are women who actually say pro-abortion. Like they're like abortion, like they say that now. Now, do they actually mean I love? No, it means to hell with you and keep your hands off my body. That's what it is. Right? That's what it is. It is them getting the stick, the jab. We're having a lot of people say, I don't want it. Why? Because science? No, because you forced me. By the way, I'm not saying you get the jab, but that's the wrong reason. You should not get it because you think it's not right for you. That's fine. Or get it because you believe it's right for you. 100%. But not because to hell with you. That is the wrong reason to not get it. Get it because you decide what you like. The problem is so many people are now just angry. Yes, absolutely. 100%. So, all right. Jess says, I can't stand this subject to the question, Larry. Sorry, I'm trying to go through. I'm trying to go through. There's just so many of these. I apologize. Yes. Anti-corporate says, agreed, as long as the poll watchers are unarmed and unintimidating. Yes and yes. Yes. Right. Yes. 100%. Roy says, agreed, all Harris had to do was better than Biden, who was so bad he dropped out, and Trump a low bar. Yeah, she had a very low bar. 100%. Yes. Brian says, I found Aladdin's lamp, rubbed it, and a genie popped out. He said that due to inflation, he could grant only one wish. I asked for the LP to reach 5% this year. Or it might be the onion speaking. It's the onions. It's the onions. Look, I would love for the Libertarian Party to get 5% this year. Would love it. I don't see it. I can't see it. I said it back in May during the convention. There was one person who's running as Libertarian who could have got 5%. His name was Lars Mapstead. He was the only guy who could have done it as Libertarian, the only one. His running mate was the guy I'm talking to right now. You could have had a Mapstead Sharpe ticket. If that was happening and Bobby dropped out, we'd be easily getting 5%, if not more. The Libertarian Party decided they'd rather fight a culture war, and they fought it. And they're still fighting it. Good luck. What are we going to do? What are you going to do? That's how it works. So, any case. Let's see if I can go down here now, grab a couple more of these. There's so many that I appreciate, guys. Shelley says, Oprah and The Rock lost credibility over asking for donations for Hawaii. I remember that. The Rock has worked hard to regain credibility. Oprah doesn't seem to think she needs to. I think she doesn't. Shelley, hear me out. Oprah was in people's living rooms, particularly women who were at home, because it was during the day, for decades. People trust her. They will forget this Hawaii thing like no tomorrow. They will just forget it. I think they will. I think she doesn't have to. Yeah, she doesn't have to. Joel says, many have mentioned that Trump didn't look at Harris. He was admonished at early debates about talking to the candidates. When it's the moderators asking the questions, that's why he faced the mod. Yeah, that's the last time that he's going to listen to his team. For that, you didn't do it? Ugh. That's the time you do it? Jesus. Yeah. Jonathan says, we'll end up with 4 years of commie. Everyone sees how horrible it is. Then they don't win for quite a while and open the opportunity for a third party. Ooh, I like that. I hope you're right. If Harris wins, the hope would be that it would be so bad that we would actually learn a lesson. I hope you're right. Sadly, I don't think that's true. We do not learn a lesson. We don't. But I hope you're right. I'm going to say yes. We should do it. Because I can't see any other chance of us. Yeah. Has to be. Otherwise, what are we doing? Yes. All righty. Let me see if I can grab some more of these if I can. The guy with the funny mustache, Larry Sharpe. Well, if I say the wrong word, I get trashed. Yes. Don't just say, move to Rumble. I am on Rumble. You can go to Rumble right now. This gets, for those of you who say, well, how many people are watching? I'm right now live on 8 different platforms. to include Rumble. You go to Larry Sharpe Rumble, you'll see me there. Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. Oh my God, what else am I on? Getter. Yes, I'm live on Getter right now. Yes, I'm on like 8 different platforms. Because I've been shadow banned so badly, I have to be. I have to be on all these things. Otherwise, I just get shadow banned. Yes. Super Weapon says, Larry should do a live stream of watching Demolition Man and see how close we are to that reality. The movie is classic and predict our future now. Yes, let's remember Demolition Man. Arnold, no, not Arnold Schwarzenegger. Sylvester Stallone. Yes, Sylvester Stallone and Wesley Snipes. Yes, Sylvester Stallone and Wesley Snipes. How do I remember that? I don't know how. Yes, and there was like the wars. There were the food wars were only like Taco Bell won out. Everything's like Taco Bell or nothing else. It was interesting and no violence. Yeah, I remember that. That was a decent movie. I mean, it was kind of campy, but it was a decent movie. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. And Wesley Snipes. I mean, he was in the way of becoming an action hero then, right? He was becoming. This is before Blade when he was the super action hero, vampire action hero, but he was on his way. So it was decent. Maybe we should. I might get in trouble watching it though, right? Because then I have to go to Rumble or something or wherever. I don't know where I have to go. Super Weapons. I got to go someplace. Thank you for the $5. I put you the super chat. I'll figure it out. We'll have to find an answer for that one. So yes. All right. Let's keep. If I can go down here, then. Gene says, "MAFA, make America free again." I like that. Yes. William says, "Someone needs to run a campaign or repeal the 16th Amendment. That's the lowering taxes I'd want to see." Yeah. The problem is most people still to this day can't imagine no taxation. So I think that also becomes a cultural issue first. But yes. Roy says, but Reagan tax cuts were paired with Bradley/Senate loophole cuts. W tax cuts brought loopholes in. Yes. I mean, but I think the average person didn't understand that. But my point is, can you run on lowering taxes? You can. But again, your points have to be valid. People have to get or believe that's going to help them in some way. That's how it has to work. So I think that's it. Yes. Proud Vet says Trump behaves like he's adamant that he'll be the reason Republicans win. Yeah. Pigboss says, yeah, and the men who ran on taxes are from a bygone era, not where most people are right now. Plus, it makes Trump look old and out of touch. Valid point. I think that's true. Many people did mention that he looks old. Valid point. I agree, Pinkabell. Valid point. Yes. Valid point. Sarah says, we would have 2 amazing governors with Sharpe and Shanahan. Yay. You can always come to Oregon, Larry. We could use a huge libertarian coup on all levels. Yes, however, to be clear, no way a New Yorker like me goes to someone else's state and goes, let me be your governor. I'm screaming carpetbagger. I'm a New Yorker. If I'm going to run for something, it'll be in New York. Joe says, Florida is going Trump. It does look that way. Yes, it does look that way. Absolutely. It does look that way. So, Matt Ice, I don't know, all my black friends trash Harris. They say she don't like black men, and I think it falls into she's not African-American, so she's not one of them. It's true. There is a big issue in the black community, Hispanic also, but particularly in males. A lot of black men do not like Harris at all. And people always say it's misogyny. It isn't. It isn't that. It is. It feels like she doesn't care about black men because of her past, and she was not good to black men in her past, is for sure. And within the black community, for those of you who may not have many black friends, if you do, you know this, or if you're black yourself, you know this. Probably know this, I should say. It shouldn't be that blanketed. But there is colorism in the black community. I'm light skinned. I get different treatment for different reasons, good and bad, for being in the black community. So there is colorism. There's also, are you actually an African American or are you black? The difference being, if I come from Nigeria, right? If my family comes from Nigeria and I'm not a descendant of slaves, I'm black, but I'm not African American in that way, or also sometimes called FBA, Foundational Black Americans, also called that, or ADOS, American Descendant of Slaves. Either one of those, FBA or ADOS. You'll see that also. And she is not that, right? Neither is Obama. Obama is not a descendant of slaves, so he's not really African American. He is black. Also, Harris, not descendant of American descendant of slaves, not financially black American, so she's not. And both Obama and Harris were not raised by black mothers. And you might think that matters. In some parts of the black community, that does matter. depending upon who you're talking to and when. So yes. Super Weapons, thank you for the $5. People think paying taxes equals good for society. Yes, God, I wish you were wrong. I wish you were wrong, but you are right. God, I wish you were wrong. You have to educate through entertainment on the 16th Amendment, a Netflix level production. That's hip. I have been talking about what I've been doing, Super Weapons, to get people to think this way, is to start showing people other ways of funding projects that's not taxation. That opens their mind and go, oh, so I can have a bridge without taxes? Yes, you can. Huh. So I can have good schooling without raising my property tax? Yes, you can. Huh. That's what I do. That's how I work it. But you're correct. Most people think of, they can't imagine having society without taxes. It's unimaginable to many people. So you start cutting taxes, they assume, oh, that means the world's ending. Versus, no. We can still find ways. We can still find ways. So yes. All right. See if I can grab a couple more of these if I can. Someone else. Sorry about that. Jennifer says, I don't watch TV, but boomers do. Yes, it is true. Yes. Hollow Mantra says, what if Trump and Kamala tie 269? Does it still go to contingent election? It does. And could RFK Jr. technically win? No. He must have at least one electoral vote. Yes. Yes. So maybe some people should still be voting for him. Maybe. Yeah. Absolutely. Dao says, I do not want Harris to win, but I'll be wasting my vote if I cast it for Trump in my solid blue state. I'm voting up. There we go. Joel. Yeah. There we go. He just answered your question. Yes. I'm voting RFK Jr. to contribute to 5%. We need to make the We the People a major party in 2028. There we go. Yes. Yes. There we go. 100%. There we go. Don't Join says the debate commission needs to plan debate moderators and keep it away from the cable news anchors. The problem is everyone's backed away from that. And the reason why they backed away from the debate commission, because if you have a debate commission, they may make rules that means Bobby Kennedy Jr. and others can actually be in the debates. If they just make side deals, they can just keep Bobby out. That sounds horrible, I know, but that's true. They just wanted to make side deals to ensure you can get rid of Bobby. They don't want Bobby there. So yes, that's why. That's the entire point. All right. Oh, Lucy in the Sky. I just saw that. Yeah, I'm sorry. Hold on. Where is it? There we go. Thank you. Lucy in the Sky. Thank you. I just got that. Look at that. I'm not good. I'm sorry. Yes. Lucy in the Sky. It makes sense. Thank you. Okay. There we go. Thank you. There we go. I appreciate that. Yes. All righty. Joel says, wait, didn't Bernie step aside patriotically for the other party? I think he would say that. I would think that a whole lot of people would disagree with that. But yes, he would say that. Yes. Shelley says, we've heard Cornel West through you, Larry. Yes, he's a great speaker. There is no doubt. Yes. Matt I says, but Larry, didn't you hear Princess AOC? Signs she's a grifter and taking her party nowhere. And if you watched, if you want to check it out on my YouTube page, I gave my opinion of that. And it was not a nice opinion. It was a nice opinion. I am not happy. AOC is my congressperson. I am not happy. And I try to not do that. So yes. The anti-corporate says, no, Larry, the Supreme Court said that the Constitution doesn't imply abortion protections for the woman. Yeah. So so aren't they saying by default, just we don't want to handle this, deal with this in the States? Am I missing that? Isn't that what they're saying? I'm pretty sure they're saying that. Yes. I think they're saying that. I think that's how I took it. Right. That's how I took it. I took it as their meaning sent to the States. That's what I think. So Jess says the pushback always results in extremes. So tired of this. Yes. Absolutely. Yes. 100%. Yes. Shelley says, I was supposed to be aborted in 1960. My great aunt in 1928. It was perfectly legal. I'm not sure I'm not sure where you're going with that one. I was too, by the way. I was one of the 60s also. And I was adopted. So my mom did not abort me and give me for adoption. And she actually could have aborted me. She did not. So yes. So there we go. Let's see here. Matt says, George Carlin said Republicans love that fetus and love that baby until it comes out of the womb. They didn't want anything to do with it. Well, I think that was true years ago, back when Carlin was doing it. I think that was accurate. I don't think that's accurate as I don't think it's as accurate now. If you know people in the pro-life movement, they are very much more about supporting the mom, supporting the kids. They're much better than they've ever been. If you go back 30 years, that's pretty accurate. I don't know if any of you are in the pro-life movement. If you've been in the pro-life movement for a while, if you look back at the pro-life movement for about 30 years ago, it was pretty bad. Colin's right. It was basically just shame, evil, mean. It was basically that. It has changed. It's much better now than it's ever been. I mean, it's much more forward. It's much more, yeah. It's much better than it's ever been. Absolutely. So, okay. Yeah. Matt says Bernie sold out. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. Jennifer said, Bernie told me to vote for his friend Joe. Yeah, he did. He kind of did. Yes. Roy says, individual pro-lifers support the mom/family, but their government does not. There's a huge moral divide. I think there's a point there. I think you're right. But again, I'm talking about the movement, right? I'm not talking about the government. I'm talking about the movement. If you meet people who are pro-life now versus 30 years ago, many of them who were doing it 30 years ago were just really being kind of mean and nasty. That was a common thing. Self-righteous, just mean and nasty. Nowadays, you do find many people who are like, no. We have community solutions for this. We have ways of helping them. Literally like giving out the diapers, the whole deal. Like it's much better now than it's ever been. I don't know if it'll keep going or not. So I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure. Super Weapon says you have to fight the culture war through educating, through entertainment, and injecting liberty values into the media. Same as left with Marxism. Yes, I agree with that. Guys, I'm going to ask you one more time. Please click the button that is like. It does matter every single time we do this. Every little click matters. If you can share this, please share this right now. If you have not subscribed to my channels, please follow me on Facebook, follow me on Twitter, all the things. I get shadow banned constantly. You can see the number of views. I have to be on 8 platforms because every one of my platforms gets terrible views individually. No matter how often I do this, no matter what things I talk about, no matter how I change my thumbnails, I am clearly being shadow banned. I need you guys to help me out. The more you do this, the better. It's why I bug you all the time. Please do it. I do it because it does matter. Yes. Christine says, my church supports pregnancy resource centers. Yes, that's a common thing. If you go back 30 years, that wasn't that true. You could find it, but rare. Now you absolutely can. It has changed. I completely agree, Christine. It really has changed. Yes. Jennifer goes on to say, I think the movement's very good for moms who don't want to have an abortion. It's way better. Carlin was thinking about the movement like in the 80s. Yes, absolutely. Shelley goes on to say the Knights of Columbus have monthly baby showers, 50/50 raffles to support children from infancy to adulthood. Yes, many more. It's much better. This goes to my point, right? If you spend more time trying to make the world a better place for women, if you spend more time making it safer for women, they will choose to have babies. They just will. That's how it works. They will choose it. You do not have to outlaw. You don't have to ban. Not required. Make a better world for children. Women will voluntarily, happily have more children. They just will. Not everyone will, obviously, but they will. So yes, they absolutely will do so. Guys, I want to say thank you so much for giving me a couple hours today. I really do appreciate it. I will be back on again tomorrow for a special Libertarian Drinking Coffee Live at 3 p.m. Then I'll be doing a debate on the Ukraine war at 6:30 p.m. on a separate channel, not this one. I will let you know where that is. And I'll be doing an AMA, so you can ask all the questions you want on Saturday. So I'm rocking and rolling, trying to give you guys as much as I possibly can. So do me a favor, subscribe, like, and once this is over, come on back on, you know for who, Mr. Rhythm, Al Gore Rhythm, come back for him and put a comment on anything, whether it's on YouTube, Facebook, whatever, come back, put a comment. So I will respond. I will see you all very soon.